Okay, so we'll see how it goes. But folks, these are problems of our time. Now, different generations will face different challenges. Okay, so let me articulate the challenge that existed about 125 years ago on the streets of Manhattan. Okay, Manhattan, right? Everybody knows that's New York City. What was the challenge? What was the mode of transportation in those days? How would you go from point A to point B? Very good. Horse carts. Very good. Horse carts. So what is the problem with the horse carts? A horse cart needs a horse. Right? A horse cart needs a horse. And what's the problem with the horse?
You want to feed it every day, use or not?
What's the problem? You got to feed. It's like putting petrol in the car engine and so on.
No more.
What is the fundamental problem?
Less for
You guys think too much. Simple. Yeah, have you heard this phrase? I believe it. Have you guys watched this movie called Jurassic Park? The very first one. So Jeff Goldblum says, you know, the lawyer runs into the toilet. And Jeff Goldblum says, when you got to go, what can somebody complete it? When you got to go, you got to go. So when a horse is got to go, is that horse going to wait for 10 minutes for a toilet to become available? No. It's going to go, it's going to go. And that actually, it created a huge environmental problem. There were people who were hired to clean the street right away. But right away means it's not like 0 seconds. Right? Somebody has to come clean the street. But in that process, it creates a huge amount of very foul smell. So the environmental challenge 125 years ago was how to get rid of that smell. Right? Comes automobile to solve that problem. So you're always looking to solve a certain problem. All right? Now, of course, your horse-driven cars, have they completely disappeared? No. There is still a tanga, right? There is still a tanga in many parts of the world, including India. All right? So they have not completely disappeared, but then they have replaced, automobiles have replaced horse-drawn carriages. It was also, you know, in India we have Belgadi, right? Belgadi needs a bell, right? Otherwise there is no Belgadi, right? So we still sort of have not gotten away. We still haven't gotten away from using animals as a source of energy. It's a source of energy, right? They sort of apply the force to pull the car, right? We haven't gone away. We have not gone completely away. We have gone very far, but not completely away. All right. So we got to understand this. You got to have your own generational problems. You're going to solve those problems. No one else will come. You solve the problems. But don't say, my God, there's so many problems. A lot of these problems, if you say problem, somehow problem means there is some connotation of it's not so good. But if you think of them as challenges and the underlying opportunity for you to engage in proposing certain solutions, then it's a very positive way of looking at the same thing. All right? So somebody here, let's provide you, where's the microphone? Is it there somewhere? Can we bring the microphone? There's somebody here who was asking a very good question during the break. Sir, your opportunity, go ahead.
So what my question is, means India has two large problems. First one is waste. It's waste. It is increasing tremendously day by day, every day. And the second problem is electricity problem. Even some of the villages nowadays in India don't have enough electricity. They are having this 1 or 2 hour electricity. Why can't we build a power plant or something in small scale first? And why can't we take the waste and create some power as it is already available in scientists, innovations are available. Why can't we do that in India?
Very good. Folks, you see the question he's asking. He says, we have two problems. Can I find a solution of both of these if I were to combine them together? See, the solution comes out of combining two problems. I have Kula, right? That's what you're saying, waste, right? Waste sounds like very, when you say things in English, they sound like very profound, right? We have waste. Sounds like something very positive. But when you say Kula, it sounds like Kula. But never mind. So you have Kula on one side, and you have lack of electricity on the other side. So let's combine the two. Let's use Kula to generate electricity. Kula can also be waste, like, I think when he says waste, maybe they are not 100% equivalent. Because waste can also include things like, animal waste. We make upla out of it. Maybe now we don't make upla anymore, but we're going to use this in some kind of a power plant for generating electricity and so on. Right? Okay. Somebody had their hands up in the back. Go ahead, sir.
Your mic is off.
My mic is off? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Is it on now? Yes. Thank you. Okay, folks. Can we pass the microphone to the back, please? You're also, it's not on, sir.
I think in all alternative related energy projects, the cost plays a very important role. So we should be taking that cost into consideration. And maybe in our state, we have a lot of wind power, but it developed because of government subsidy. And then once some subsidy is there, then the technology develops, and then we'll be able to provide it at a low cost. I mean, the initiative, once you develop the technology, the government has to give some sort of a boost for that. Because as you said, there should be, in the case of mobile product, there is someone buyer who buys at a higher cost. So the government should initially give some subsidy. I think then the direction will take.
Very good. Very good. So he's touching on two things. But go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. We are discussing the second phase of a problem. We just forget the first phase of the problem.
Okay.
The first phase is a very simple one. Saving anything is better equal to producing it 2 times.
Okay.
So once we try to conserve the energy, then there is no need to go for some alternate energy sources or energy production from the wastes. In this way, we have to go. So first, we have to assure the energy is utilized in the right way, in the right amount, without any misuse. Then the second phase we can take. Now technology is available to proceed with the second phase.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So he's talking about saving energy, right? He says that's the first phase. Very good. Very good. I'm not going to challenge it because there's no challenges because there are no rights and wrongs here. It's a very valid point. Okay. So the point he's making is if there is more energy being consumed in this place and there's no energy on the other side, maybe there are some saving mechanisms, right? So there is a lot of push towards saving energy. For example, there's a lot of smart buildings being built, and we talk about the amount of energy that these buildings will consume. So, and many times these buildings are energy neutral. Maybe they don't consume any energy from outside. So there's a lot of work that's going on saving energy. That's a very, very valid point here. Okay? All right, others? You want to say something? Go ahead.
One more point I want to insist, sir.
Go ahead.
Actually, a few years back, a very severe electrical energy scarcity is happened in Tamil Nadu. The southmost part of India.
Right.
There various type of discussions are going on. And one more point, they discussed that. I don't know whether it is true or false. In North India, there is much of energy which is not utilized, and most of the power plants are shut down due to there is no demand for the energy. This time, if there is any possibility to transfer the energy from North Indian states to South Indian states, we can compensate the losses, because in South India we are in need of installing more number of power plants for the satisfying the power need of the people. But at the same time, some cultural problems also developed in that case. For example, some nuclear power plants are recently situated in Tamil Nadu. But people are protesting against the power plant in the view of endangering of nuclear power plants. Like these cases are going on. Still going on.
Very good. You see the human side of what he's saying? There's a very strong human side to energy. So he's bringing out some of those human aspects associated with energy.
If it is possible to manage the electrical energy nationwide, definitely there is no electrical scarcity will happen in this type of large space country.
Okay, fair enough. Fair point. Okay, so the thing would be, folks, I think that's exactly the kind of thinking we hope to sort of bring about in our, say it's not one problem, one solution. You got to understand all the different facets, and most of the facets you study are not facets of technology. Those are facets of humans. All right. So let me touch upon. I need to summarize this conversation. Someone else wants to say something? Go ahead. Can we get the microphone to the front, please? Go ahead. Yeah. Very good. Good.
I have a question. Suppose I found an idea and I have found that nobody else did it before. So as a student, like, what will be the next step? How to proceed to produce it finally?
Okay, that's a question of fundamental importance. Sorry, you use the word fundamental. So that's a question of fundamental importance. We have a full 2-hour session coming up this afternoon on intellectual property. That's one aspect of the question that you asked. Okay, we will pursue your question, and we will study that question, and we'll try to answer this in all the different facets in great details. Don't worry. So let's, for now, just keep your question with you. Bring it up again in the afternoon, and we'll answer this one. It's really, folks, you really need to understand where to go, what to do when you have an idea. Right? Very good. We're going to come to that. There was somebody here who wanted to say something. Is it you guys? No? Okay, someone else? All right, folks, let me summarize this. So, first of all, are we doing anything at all in converting? Let's not call it. Let's not call it kura. Let's call it waste or garbage, whichever way. Are there things being done today to convert this this waste into something useful called electricity?
I mean, our place, there are 2 units that are doing that. Unfortunately, the government subsidy is not coming up.
Okay, very good.
So there are 2 units. One is domestic waste, the other one is medical waste.
All right. Okay. In our times, when this is like maybe 40 years ago, somebody just came out with the concept of gobar gas. You guys know what gobar gas is? Gobar gas is basically take the waste, the animal waste, and then you let it rot. And when anything rots, it gives out, I think it's methane, right? Methane, that comes out. You collect it in a certain way, and then you can use that methane as gas, right? So it's called gobar gas. It's coming out of gobar. Okay, very good. Now, but what he's talking about is not just take gobar gas, not just use gobar. But I believe he's talking about even taking plastic, other materials that show up in the waste and converting it to electricity. Folks, fair point. Fair point. Okay? So what he's talking about is fair. But what the gentleman in the back said, he said 2 things. He said, first of all, by the way, when you have gobar gas, you know, we have somebody, some very senior minister says, if you take electricity out of water, you know, they were talking about Bhangra Dam and so on. So if you take electricity out of water, the water loses, you know, it's not as good anymore if you drink it because that energy has been taken out. Okay? The point is this. If there is gas coming out of gobar, am I open to the idea of using gas to cook my food because it came out of gobar? Folks, yes or no? We are okay because we have reached a certain stage of we are informed people. But then we are not talking about only those who are informed. We are talking about the masses, right? Somebody spoke about the gas cylinder subsidy yesterday. But let's just say this one. Will everybody be open to the idea? Will not somebody come around and say, hey, this is like gobar in your kitchen? Where would that go? Right? So there is a human side to the story. So when you say saving energy, amazing amount of work is being done. Amazing amount of work is being done on converting waste to electricity. But then remember, every solution will have, along with a plus, there will be a minus. If you have to burn the waste, what will happen? You're going to get electricity, but you'll always have carbon dioxide go in the environment. All right? So somebody from the environment side will come, hey, you're ruining the environment. All right? You have to be very careful when you engage in these kind of activities. But outside of that, there was something else that was very interesting. Two things. One is the business of electricity typically, and I'm saying typically because there is no such thing as forever. Typically, the business of energy requires government support. Because why government support? It's very difficult to start a business of electricity generation and in 2 years' time you become profitable, or 3 years' time. The period is much longer. Therefore, if you're going to keep losing money for 20 years, where is that losing money? Where is that money coming from? So typically, the government will step in and subsidize. And why does the government subsidize? Are they wasting money? No. They are subsidizing because they believe that in the long run, they will see the economic benefit for the society. In the short run, you got to pay. All right? So you have government subsidies. So that's one thing. But the second thing, which is even more critical, is I have two suppliers of electricity. Two suppliers. One will charge me 1 rupee per unit. Other one charges me 2 rupees per unit. Okay? 1 rupee per unit, 2 rupees per unit. Which electricity are you buying? Guys? 1 rupee. Now, this 2 rupee fellow will tell you, oh, this is green energy. I'm not destroying the environment. There was no carbon dioxide used to produce this and so on. So this is environmentally friendly energy. This is, we don't know where it came from. It could be heavily polluted. Maybe they are burning diesel to generate electricity. By the way, can you burn diesel to generate electricity? Yes, right. That's no issue. So, but now, are you willing to pay $1 more for this green energy? Where are you? The answer is?
Actually saying no. It's based on the individual's policies.
Understood. Understood. We are assuming rational behavior. The rational behavior demands that you go along with 1 rupee. Okay? So therefore, and we're going to talk more about environment, okay, a little later. But you got to understand the moral compass is one thing. All right? But we are talking about consumers, the mass consumers. Don't expect everybody to have a moral compass when they engage in buying and selling. It's their hard-earned money. Who are you to tell them that, hey, go for 2 rupees, don't go for 1 rupee, it's bad. Hey, they only earn like 2 rupees a day. They're going to use 1 rupee for their bijli. All right? So you have to be very careful when you engage in this. So one more time, the question of cost is going to be a paramount question. A paramount question. All right? But there are still opportunities when it comes to processing waste. Lots of opportunities, guys. Waste is a multi-billion-dollar business. Whether you use waste to generate electricity, that's one way of sort of getting rid of the waste. There can be other ways of getting rid of the waste. Waste is mega business. Why? Because there is mega waste that is being generated. I mean, the numbers are staggering. The amount of plastic that is thrown away after one-time use, the amount of plastic is staggering. It's got to go somewhere. Okay? We take these batteries, we throw them away. These batteries actually, they have a lot of chemicals that will damage your water supply. Right? But how many of you would care to sort of throw this battery in a way that it does not reach our water supply? Most of us will put it in the cooler, right? Just dispose it out. But we will have, by the way, see that we are now more environmentally friendly. Okay, but so folks, we're gonna talk about the environment later. But the point that we are trying to make for now is, and that's the point. The point is you have to talk about cost considerations. When you are in the marketplace, you have to say the cost is one of the major drivers for consumer behavior. Major driver. Okay? And if you have lots of money, then again cost is a major driver. Okay? Then you say, I don't want to buy something. So if you want to buy a car, you have lots of money. You don't want to buy a Maruti. Right? You want to buy a Mercedes. So you say, I don't want to spend 4 lakh rupees. I want to spend 4 crore rupees. Right? By the way, Maruti is like 4 or 5 lakhs, right? Does anybody know? It's around that.
Yes.
Right? But Mercedes, by the way, Mercedes is manufactured where? No. Come on, guys. If where you are right now, if you were to look for the nearest point where Mercedes is made, what's that point? Isn't there a Mercedes plant in the state of Tamil Nadu? Chennai. Very good. Chennai is the state of Tamil Nadu, sir, right? Okay, so that's where the nearest plant is. All right? But cost considerations will never escape. So we would, therefore, when you do these product designs and innovations and so on, you come up with a new, ghada. So the lady, you go to the lady and say, don't have to put it on the head. Now you can wear it around your body. But you know that earlier ghada is only 2 rupees. But this one is 10 rupees. You right away killed your own product. Because there is a competing product that is selling for 2 rupees. Okay? So you have to do that math, guys. So whenever you are inventing anything, cost considerations never go away. Never, ever. Okay, other things that somebody would like to add before we move on to concept generation. And this is the first time when the product will begin to take a certain physical shape. We begin to talk about how to realize the product. So let me put one up. So this is a lot of slides, guys. By the way, these slides are, I believe you already have these slides.
Yes.
Have you guys flipped through these slides? You know how you flip? You take a book, you hold it in one hand, you go to the pages, hold them like this, and you flip. Right? On that note. Right? So have you guys flipped through these notes? Yes, no? Yes, we have. All right. Very good. Okay, concept generation, selection, and testing. Let's see how this one goes. All right? So we have already talked about, by the way, this one, we have already talked about all of these things, right? Customer needs, how you go about getting those needs, starting with a certain mission statement. And there were just two ways we come out with humanity. One was the customer needs, the other one was competition, right? For 2 things. And based on 2 things, we had the product specifications. And we reasoned that these are precise, these are quantitative, customer needs are qualitative. And we saw some examples. All right? But we still don't know what the product looks like. Right? Right now, all we've done is we've defined the product in terms of certain specifications that it ought to meet. But how you go about meeting those specifications, we have not talked about. Okay. So we have the digital money thing. So what we're going to talk about now is concept generation, selection, and testing. All right. See how this one goes. We have right now it's 12:30, and we'll see how far we need to go or how much time it takes. So one would be concept generation. Remember, we have already reasoned that there is multiple ways of doing things. Okay, so let's take a simple example. Energy. You have to supply energy. You have to store energy. Is there only one way of storing energy? So one way of storing energy, by the way, is battery an electrical product or a battery a chemical product? It's a chemical product. Very good. So you can store energy in a certain chemical way, right? The battery. Storage, right? Nickel, what is it? State of the art. Is it still nickel cadmium? In our generation, it used to be nickel cadmium. It could be something else now. Is there somebody here? Lithium. Okay, very good. Right. So there must be certain pluses. Okay. So chemical way of storing energy. Right, very good. Is there an electrical way of storing energy? Capacitor, very good. Capacitor, very good. A capacitor. So let's not worry about the electrical characteristics of a capacitor or the chemical characteristics of a battery. I mean, we don't know what chemicals are inside, right? but we know as a consumer how to use it. That's what we are focused on. Okay, very good. So you can store energy in a chemical way, in an electrical way. Can you store energy in a mechanical way?
Spring.
Very good. A spring. Very good. A spring. How about a flywheel?
Yeah, maybe engine maybe.
Right? An engine flywheel. So you have a flywheel. All right. So a lot of different ways. So the question will be, you have multitude of ways in which you can store energy. So when you say store energy for a product, what exactly would you do? Right? Is it going to be a chemical thing, a mechanical thing, an electrical thing? There could be a nuclear thing, right? There is somebody working on miniaturized nuclear power plants. Would it be that? Who knows? All right? So the point will be, this is where we are right now, guys. Okay? The concept means now we have to somehow begin to distill it down just a little bit further. And now we're talking about moving in the direction of realizing. We would still not talk about I need Wi-Fi. We'll talk about I need wireless. I will need wireless. I will write what exactly do I need the wireless for, and that will tell me the specifications for wireless. And then I'll look at the various wireless technologies, right? Bluetooth is 1, Wi-Fi is 2, cellular is 3. Are there others out there?
NFC.
What is it called?
NFC.
NFC. Very good. NFC. What is the full form for NFC? Near field communication. Very good. NFC. It's actually, I will not be surprised if there's somebody here who has a phone that has NFC. Is there somebody here with a phone, NFC? We have a phone. Okay, very good. NFC. There could be others. There could be Zigbee. There could be whatever else. So we're not yet there to talk about NFC, right? Or if we are there to write and say we need wireless, and this is what we need for my wireless to be able to do. Okay? And then there will be multiple ways. Somebody will say I use chemical energy. Somebody will say I use mechanical energy, and then that will give rise to 2 different concepts. And somewhere along the line, you need to be able to assess these concepts for the product that you're trying to build. Okay? So, we've already done the customer needs. All right. By the way, the economic analysis is going all the way across, and we will engage in a very intense conversation about economics. All right. So, the customer needs come in, the targeted specs are done, and now we are sort of generating our concepts. So, you generate, in some sense, you need to evaluate, all right, and then you need to select. And then you again need to test. By the way, testing never goes away. So how would you test if what you have done is good or not? One way would be you go back to your customers and you say, based on what you told us, hey, this is what we have done. What do you guys think? And remember, at this stage, you're not building the product. You're building the concept product. Okay? You're not building the exact product. Exact product is hugely complex. But like we gave the example of spraying the tea leaves with a certain substance to prevent, say, for example, some bacteria or whatever, some germs. How do you do it? We said we're going to use the drone. So if you use a drone, you can do a lot of things. Pictorially demonstrate to the farm owner what this drone can do without actually building the drone. All right? So that's where we are, concepts. And then you're going to have to test the concepts. Okay, so once again, it's back to the same story. The funnel effect, remember? So now we have our product, we have the specifications. We're talking about engaging in a realization. We will have lots and lots of different ways to realize. Folks, that's where you have to do this. Please don't say there is only one way of doing something. Okay, I give a simple example. So you want to turn on electricity in this room. So you look for a button, right? Some button somewhere. And you say, I press a button, it flips its position, right? From off to on, light comes up. Everybody sees that here. How about I clap and electricity turns on? Is that a second way of doing it? They're totally different things. Don't think they are equivalent. They are equivalent in terms of the functionality they provided. But they're two different things, right? I clap, it comes on. Could there be other ways? Connect it with our, very good. So two ways to do this. One is what somebody in the back was suggesting, person-to-person transaction, right? So I can have a remote control in my hand, right? I have a remote control, I press the turn on button, it turns on. Or I can have a mobile app. And the mobile app now will, through some internet service somewhere, come inside, it will be called a smart home, and then it turns on my switch. Everybody sees it. There could be many others. You could employ a servant to say, when I say on, you turn it on. When I say turn it off, you turn it off. You see that? So you can have lots and lots of different solutions depending on the situation. All right, you could also say, I need authentication. It's not enough for me to clap. That way anybody can come and clap. I clap in a certain way for this to come on. Right? So you can talk about certain authorizations that are built in. Right? Everybody sees it here. Okay. So based on how you do things, there's also somebody has a product in the market. So let's just say this is a product that they have, and this is the region where there's a switch. But you don't have to physically touch the device. All you have to do is just walk your hand past that switch. And you know, as you walk past, maybe there is some kind of a sensor that will sense. And as you move your hand across without touching, the switch comes on. All right? A lot of different ways, guys. All right? A lot of different ways. Each one will have its own peculiar thing. If I don't have to touch, that means if someone else has some germs or whatever, they never reach my hand, right? Because I'm not touching it. So all of these things have different sort of, different uses, in a way, different characteristics, different features. All right? Okay. So different ways you're going to generate many different concepts, and then you're going to screen. Screen is because you have 500 concepts. There's no way to mathematically assess each and every one. So you have a certain sense of market intelligence, right? You have a certain sense of consumer behavior. So you now have a sense of the strength of the organization that you're working for, right? So based on all of this, you're going to screen. The screen is only like go, no go kind of a, right? It's a go, no go, and so on. By the way, all of these concepts that you have, they all meet the product specifications. If you have a concept that does not meet a product specification, forget it. It's not doing its job. Okay? You're going to do lots of these. So you go through screening, and then for the few that remain, you're going to do scoring. So scoring is a lot more detailed. And then you're going to test with your customers, with the marketplace. Maybe you're going to do a limited launch. All right, folks. In all of this, let me give a simple example. Is there McDonald's here in Silchar? There's no McDonald's. But you know what McDonald's is? Because my example is a McDonald's example. Okay, so McDonald's. Have you ever wondered why McDonald's? By the way, you guys never mind McDonald's. You guys eat pizza, right? Okay. Yes, sir. I like that strength in the voice. Yes, I enjoy pizza. Have you ever wondered how come McDonald's has never done a pizza? How come McDonald's does not sell pizza? Have you ever wondered? We have so many other things to wonder. We never wondered. But we can wonder now. How about now, in this room, right now? Can you wonder how come McDonald's has not done pizza? What is the reason? You have to speak up a little bit. Can we pass the microphone, please? Yes, go ahead.
Because Domino's is already holding a very big market share.
Okay.
So they will be facing a tough competition, and they have already created they have a niche market of this burgers. So,
ma'am, the market for burgers is not a niche market. But
no,
your point is well taken. Point is well taken. She says there is already in the market, there's already somebody called Domino's,
Only one product
and
which is
very dominant.
yes.
Okay, very good. Good point. Others?
Maybe McDonald's wanted to concentrate, focus on the menu that they have got.
Okay, maybe they say, you know, by the way, to make that, you know, maybe not everybody, but maybe some of you, have you been to a McDonald's? Yes, no? Yes. It's an amazingly complex kitchen. Amazing amount of electronics goes into that kitchen. All right, so it's not a trivial thing. It's not one kadhai that is, frying the burgers or anything like this. It's a very, very sophisticated operation. Okay, let's come to you, sir. Maybe, go ahead. What's your reasoning again?
I'm telling that McDonald's maybe wanted to focus on that particular menu.
Very good. They say, I will have to change my kitchen if I want to sort of start making these pizzas. I'm not going to do it. Very good.
In addition to the menu, probably they have the top customers.
Very good.
And they are comfort with their customers.
Very good.
And so they don't want to change the customers.
Very good.
Okay.
All of these things are good. All right. Very good. So you see, there can be a very variety of reasons, from competition in the marketplace to the skill that we have, and so on and so forth. All right. But typically, if McDonald's wanted to do pizza, they would not do a global launch of pizza without doing concept testing. So they will come back here and they will say, first of all, I need to get a sense of what's going to happen in the kitchen. I need to sell something. All right? But now I have a product called pizza. I'm going to go to my customers and I'll ask them, what do they think? It so happens that McDonald's tried to introduce pizza. Okay? They did their concept testing. Certain cities in the US are identified as typical city, meaning to say the residents of that city kind of reflect the overall America. Because you cannot do a global launch. You cannot change the kitchen in 20,000 McDonald's. You can only change the kitchen in 15, 20, where you're going to experiment. Okay? So they've done it. They tried to do a launch of pizza in a limited way in those cities. That's concept testing. And the results, surprisingly, came back negative. No, vast majority of the customers don't associate McDonald's with pizza. They don't. Okay? So, and for whatever reasons can be Domino's. The reasons can be some of the reasons articulated here. Whatever be the reasons. But the fact of the matter was, McDonald's dropped the idea of doing a pizza after their testing of that concept with the customers. Okay? Now, you guys know Starbucks. Starbucks we know, right? Is there a Starbucks at Silchar Airport? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, but every airport, every down airport has a Starbucks, right? I mean, they're selling coffee for like 150 rupees, right? 200 rupees. One coffee? Give me a break. But never mind me getting a break from anybody. The fact remains, it's huge business. Huge business. Coffee. Now, McDonald's, to answer some of the question about the competition, has McDonald's done coffee? Are there specialized McDonald's coffee shops where they sell coffee? Nobody has been to one. Folks, it's called, everything in McDonald's is MC, right? Mac this, Mac that, right? Even the food items are Mac this, Mac that, right? They have Mac cafes where the entire menu is built around a cup of coffee. Folks, the customer behavior when they have coffee is different from the customer behavior when they have a burger. Right? So they had to cater to the customer who wants to drink coffee. But McCafe is actually quite a successful enterprise within McDonald's. So go figure these things out. But that's why you got to understand the markets. You have to understand your own self. You have to understand the wide variety. All right, and eventually you go back to the customers. Cannot escape. Cannot escape. Okay. So go ahead, sir.
Actually, is it a natural behavior of a customer that coffee will food and burger with other things. Or these behavior were created by the company among the
Oh, no, this behavior, you see what happens, to my understanding, what happens is this. When the business is small, they are not powerful. So they need to understand the customers a little better. But as they begin to grow, somewhere along the line, they become very powerful. Okay? So for example, today, when Google wants to do transactions in India, they are not another company doing transactions in India. They are much more powerful because they have greater amount of resources available to them, right? So that would happen. So early on, McDonald's will not have an opportunity to influence customer behavior. Not. But as they grow, they will have an opportunity. So the customer behavior, they need to understand that. Okay? And they are able to influence customer behavior, not to anything that they want it to be, but to a large extent, to some extent, they are able to. Okay? I give a simple example. And it's not just about food. You said coffee goes with something, you said. Any food. So you say coffee goes with this food, and maybe chai goes with some other food, and so on. Yes, understood. But when somebody walks into, have you guys gone to Starbucks? You have. What is your behavior, sir? What do you do? Can somebody pass a microphone to him?
Just what a cup of coffee.
No, take the microphone. Because everybody has to hear what you do when you go to. Folks, please enjoy. He's the only one who has gone to. I find it very expensive. It's only for the students.
Yes, when I went to the Starbucks, I just ordered for a cup of coffee and some fries.
Go ahead.
And yeah, it was quite expensive. I just want to have a bite.
Okay, very good. So he must have seen some value in paying for that cup of coffee. Okay. Now Starbucks, interestingly enough, the way this thing plays out, Starbucks was one of the very early companies. Now everybody's doing it. They were one of the early ones to give you free internet access when you buy a cup of coffee. Okay? Free. So that was actually, so you could sit there for half an hour for that cup of coffee. So they're going to charge you for that half an hour, right? And you're only buying one coffee. So they only have one opportunity to sort of influence, right? So they say, okay, my coffee is $10. Or I don't know how much you paid, sir, maybe 150 rupees.
Yeah, around 220.
You know, it's okay to say, your supervisor is not here, so no implication of it.
Actually, I was in Malaysia at the time.
Right.
I was in a business conference.
Right.
So,
okay, so very good. So you see, Starbucks not only provides you coffee, they provide you with a certain ambiance that goes with the coffee. So you can sip your coffee for 30 minutes and you can browse the web or do whatever. A lot of people go there for their meetings. So Starbucks, there is a certain ambiance and they charge you for that ambiance. Now, when I say they give you internet for free, is it free? Is there such a thing as free? No. You're paying for it. The business model is, I charge you for the coffee and I give you internet. So it's actually a package deal, right? It's coffee plus internet. But if I charge you for internet separately, many customers will turn away. They will turn away not from internet. They will also turn away from coffee. You know, because when you buy coffee, you bring that receipt home or to your company. Company says, okay, food, coffee, done, approved. But when you say coffee plus internet, they will say, we never pay for internet. You only pay for coffee. You see that? So you have to be very mindful of the business model. But the point is, you have to sort of get a very good sense of your customers. And eventually, maybe somewhere along the line, you will be able to influence their behavior, as somebody was suggesting. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. One more thing I would like to add.
I need to check mine also.
Yeah. One more thing I would like to add that when we go into a coffee shop, suppose if I say the Starbucks, the only thing means it is not the thing that yes, I have to grab a cup of coffee out there. Since coffee, I can have it in any other stores also.
Sure.
But I went there since I had a meeting and I want to look good.
Very good.
Right. So it is not about the coffee. It is about the ambience that they are providing.
Yes.
So that it is also, we have to, for a business, we have to take into consideration the human behavior.
Absolutely. He says, when I go there, there will be all professional people. So you see, even the clientele makes a difference. So maybe Starbucks create a certain image of a clientele that comes to have a cup of coffee, right? It's not slightly maybe upper class people who will be dressed up a little nicely. Their language will be refined, right? I mean, so no bad words and so on and so forth. Therefore, it's okay for you to go there. Maybe McDonald's will provide you with a certain ambiance where the kids would want to come and play there, right? By the way, McDonald's, the biggest selling point is the kids, right? You, as parents, well, I don't know if there's many people here who are parents, but I as parent would not want to get a burger for myself. But then when my son says, you know, Dad, McDonald's, I'm going to go to McDonald's. So then you have no choice, right? You're not going to go to another place. So it's okay, fine. This kid wants to go to McDonald's for the chicken nuggets or whatever. I will also buy you burger, right? So you need to define. You need to have, therefore, a very sharp understanding of your customer, the needs of that customer, and then you cater to those needs. All right, let's come here. Let's come back. So you've done the product specifications, and now what we're going to do is we're going to break down the problem into pieces. Okay, you want to realize many things. So, for example, when you have a copier, photocopying machine, you have to sort of feed, right? You have to have a way to put you want to copy something. So let's say you want to copy 2 pages of a book. So you have to somehow be able to place the book, right? Somewhere along the line, there's a tray that contains paper. There is a way for you to roll that paper in. You have a certain technological thing that prints it on that paper and the paper comes out. So you have a certain user interface. How many copies? Am I going to use A4 size sheet or A3 size sheet, right? Is it one-sided, two-sided? So there's all of these different things that you want. And therefore, all of these different things mean you will now break down the entire product, the entire functionality into sub-problems. Each one is unique. So if you have paper moving, you need a motor to roll the paper, to move the paper. So there's some parts that are moving. When you have a user interface, that user interface must be very friendly for you to be able to use. Is it going to be a mechanical user interface? For example, like the remote control, lots and lots of buttons. Or is it going to be like an Apple screen? It's a touch button, right? And even then, even when it's touch button, you have to make it very intuitive for somebody to be able to use, and so on and so forth. There will be some diagnostics that will be running that tells you paper is finished, that will tell you toner is down, and so on and so forth. All right. So now you're breaking down the problem into sub-problems, and you're looking for a solution to those sub-problems. Okay. Some internal, some external. All right. So even the peelers, they are different. Different people have different needs. Remember yesterday we were talking about the vegetable cutter. It's different type. It's very cultural. When he was describing that cutter, I never heard of that cutter till that time. All right? Because what we had in our house was something totally different. All right? But that's the beauty of all these products. That one product will not fulfill all the needs. All right? So see how it goes. So the peeler, you see the needs for the peeler are different. The peeler, somebody says, has to be easy to clean. Somebody says, it's comfortable to use. All right? Easily sharpened. Right? We know this, right? The knives and all, they somehow lose their sharpness. Right? Things like that. So you have all these different shapes. I don't know if you recognize them. Right? All of these very different ways to have different grips. You see, the grips are different, their tops are different. The basic thing is the same. The basic thing is a very sharp edge that you're going to roll over the aloo to peel the aloo, right? Or whatever other subject you have, right? It's a peeler. Okay? But even then, see the variety of ways, and there could be many more. In fact, there are many more. Okay? There are many more. You guys, you can also make it electric. Everything these days is electric, right? So you say, this is a product, it has a handle, right? Handle. Can I now put a battery inside the handle? And therefore, this thing, when it peels, it vibrates. It gives you a slightly better peel. You guys know what I'm talking about. you have that battery inside the shavers, right? Remember we talked about 5 blades? There's also a battery. You can buy one that is powered. There's a battery inside, and it gives you apparently slightly better shave. But the peeling problem and the shaving problem are, so you're moving your hand like this, they are actually very similar. You realize that, right? They're quite similar. So that's where things will be. Different needs, different products, and different concepts. Okay, so we're gonna take this example of a power nailer. Okay, so the power nailer is, there is a magazine. You know, it's like a machine gun, but it's not a machine gun with bullets. It's a machine gun with nails. All right, it's a machine gun with nails. So what's going to happen is you're going to hold it as a machine gun, and there is probably a trigger, and then as you trigger, it basically puts a nail. It can be one nail at a time. It can be multiple nails at a time, depending on the application that you have. All right, but this is a power nailer. So let's see what can we do with this power nailer. Okay, all right, everybody's good on this. So take a look. You break it down. There will be some energy flow. So we are looking at functionalities. All right, there is some energy flow. Energy means energy could be electrical, mechanical, and so on. We're going to see some examples. Okay, flow of energy, flow of materials, the nails. All right, the nails, they will flow. You have to be able to load the magazine, the nails, you load it, and then you have a certain way of applying the energy, right? Because each nail, you have to apply the energy to the head of the nail. All right, and then you have some signals where you say, has it been aligned properly? Has it not been aligned properly? And so on and so forth. Okay, now, simple story, guys. You take this electrical energy. Are you storing it, or do you have an external source? If you have a storage, it's a different product, right? Because now when you sell something with a storage, you also have to be able to sell something that you can use to charge, right? Typically when you buy your phone, does it not come with a charger? It does, right? I mean, it's a natural thing. So you have to be able to do that. Now, what's going to happen is, for you to get the nail through, you need to convert that energy that you had. Either you were storing it or you got it from a power cord, it was electrical energy. You have to convert this. How do you get a nail, right? What is the mechanical action for a nail? You have to grip the nail in a certain position, and then you have to hit it with a hammer. Very good. So hammer, what does it do? It's actually striking, right? That's mechanical energy, right? Or kinetic energy, right? So you hold the nail like this, and you strike it. Everybody sees that here? So you have to be able to convert, say, electrical energy, which is your primary source of energy here. You have to be able to convert this to motion, to kinetic energy. All right? And then you're going to apply that energy to the nail. Now, folks, you have to understand this. You have a nail, and you'll have nails of different sort of size and so on, right? Some nails are very thin. More or less, you can push them by the hand. Well, not really so, but, and then some are very thick nails. All right? The question is, if you have a thin nail, maybe you need a small hammer. When you have a thick nail, it requires more translational energy. You're going to have a bigger hammer. But that bigger hammer is bigger space. So are you going to build a system that's going to strike the nail once and job done? Lots of energy, just to strike once. Or are you going to build a system where you strike like not just once, but you do a continuous strike, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after 5 strikes, the job is done. Everybody sees. So the characteristic of your product will be different in terms of how you go about applying this translational energy to the nail. So a lot of different, so you say, I have now broken down my product into sub-problems. Energy, material, and some signals. All right? You need to make sure a lot of things, there's no finger there. Right? If there's a finger and you put the nail through, my gosh. Right? So you see this, so you may have some additional sensors and so on. Okay? So let's Look at the process here. The energy. Remember, there were three things here: energy, materials, and signals. So you say energy. So you can convert energy to translational, accumulate the translational energy. Maybe you don't want to create electrical energy. Folks, electrical energy, how much is the wattage? The power is voltage times current, right? So you say, all right, voltage times current. I understand. Suppose you're looking for certain amount of power. The voltage typically is, say, 220. That tells you how much current you need, right? But many times you may not be able to provide that much current. Why? Because if there is a short and you get a shock, you know how much current can kill a person? It's not the voltage that kills, it's the current. You know how much? No, that's way too high. I believe even 15 milliamperes, if it passes through the human body, it can be fatal. Okay? Very low amount. So you say, I cannot sustain 15 amperes of current through my device. Alright? So somewhere along the line, you have to be able to accumulate. You have to be able to accumulate. Alright? And then you apply. So now you're going to build the systems for conversion of energy to translational, accumulation, and application. So you're not solving. So what you did was, you took the big problem, you broken it down to sub-problems, and now you're trying to realize those sub-problems. So you see, you want to do conversion, electrical energy to translation, a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways you can do this. All right? Conversion of electrical energy to translation. All right? You can have a rail gun, you can have a motor, some kind of a rotary action, and so on. A lot of different ways, guys. All right? Then you say, how do I accumulate? I can accumulate. Somebody said a spring. We said a flywheel. Right? There can be others. So this is mechanical energy now. Actually, there's no such thing as mechanical energy. This is kinetic energy. It's totally energy. And then you're going to apply. Remember, single impact, multiple impact, or you're not going to have any impact. You will just push it. You get different effects, right? When you push something, what happens? Folks, when you push something, there is also a force that pushes you, right? So you have to be able to hold it very tight. You know what I'm saying? All right? So there will be different ways when you apply. These different ways will have different implications for what that product would do or what the effects of that use of the product will be. Okay? So you see, you can say, I'm going to use a solenoid, convert, I'm going to accumulate in a spring, and I will have multiple impacts. So that's one realization. By the way, we still haven't said a spring of what characteristic. We still haven't identified the material for the spring. All we said was, in general, a spring can hold energy. That's all we said. Okay? All right? So you can use rotary motion. See different possibilities now. Right? Each one. So the first one has 4, 2, and 3. Total number of possibilities is 4 times 2 times 3. Lots of possibilities. All right? Lots of possibilities. So I can go, you can go back and forth, right? So each one will have its own characteristic. And we are only talking about energy. If you go back, the conversation is not purely about energy, also about the materials, the flow of materials, and also about the flow of signals. This is a very sophisticated now sort of environment that you have for a power nailer. Okay, very sophisticated. All right, so let's keep rolling here. And folks, this will show up. This will show up in all the products that you will do. All the products. All right, there will be certain materials, there will be certain signals, there will be a certain amount of energy, and so on and so forth. We have not brought in user interface here, but when you begin to develop apps, the user interface will play a very key role. All right. Here we are assuming that somebody is well versed into the use of power nailer. Typically, you don't have power nailers in your home. You have power nailers when you are a professional who has to do a lot of these nailing things because you are in some kind of home improvement business or construction business and so on. All right. So how do I go about selecting? Well, lots of different ways. right? Lots of different ways. You can go back to certain champions. What is a product champion? Typically, a company will say, for a product like this, we have identified these two people. Go to them and get their approvals. All right. So you can have champions. You can go reach out to the customers, the clients, the distributors, and you say, hey, this is what we have. What do you guys think? Will people want to have one strike at the nail or three strikes at the nail? Right? Now, three strikes or one strike may have time implication. All right, maybe three strikes takes less time because you are required to accumulate less energy for each strike. Right? We don't know, but the point would be we need to now reach back to the customers, right? Especially the early adopters of our product and say, hey guys, we're trying to do this. You can also, of course, study how the competition is doing. All right, so all of those things come into play. All right, folks, I am going way past my time. All right, but the point would be, so you want to select. So you're going to screen and you're going to score. Screening is a little bit sort of, gut checks, expert inputs, and so on. So screening is, there is a concept for syringe. Syringe is incredible. Is there, I don't know if you guys have you guys seen the process of extracting a tiny sample of blood if somebody is diabetic? It's a very complex device. Very complex device. Or basically, there's a needle, I don't know, it's about maybe 2 or 3 mm long, maybe 3 or 4 mm long. And then you're going to hold it against your finger or a thumb and then press it. And then it's loaded by spring. Or it could be battery loaded. It's loaded actually. And the needle goes in and it comes out. All right? Very sophisticated operation, guys. Why is it sophisticated? If you have to do the same thing in the wall, it's not. But it's not, you're not doing it in the wall. You're doing it to the thumb or you're doing it to the finger. So there's a very strong human element there. Okay? So, sprint. So you're going to go for selection. Selection, lots of different ways of doing this. Lots. Are you going to push like just a push button or are you going to crank it? Because remember, there's a certain amount of mechanical energy that you need to provide. So you can crank it. You know what cranking is, right? Right? Some kind of way you crank it and that basically energizes the system, right? A lot of different ways, guys. So what you're going to do is, this is screening. This is very quick. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. You have the customer needs here. Go plus, minus, right? And then based on this, you can crank it, right? Plus, you can accumulate. The pluses are good. Saints is neutral. Minuses is negative. You can accumulate, right? So that's screening. Same way now you're going to come to scoring. Scoring is now you're going in much more details. You have the customer needs here. Now you say, I'm going to associate a certain weight with those needs. Not all needs are equal weight. So certain weight, for example, the metering accuracy is 25% for this range, right? So you have the different needs, you rate it, right? And you go through the percentage, right? So you say the rating is 3, right? Remember, depending on how well you fulfill the function, you will have the rating, and you say 5% times 3 is 0.15, and you will accumulate it. So now you have the total accumulated score, and you will pick the one that has the highest score. Okay? Folks, I need to run some of these slides a little faster, but I'm sure you're getting the idea. All right? So that's your final concept. Amazingly complex, guys. Those of you who have people or you have seen people who are diabetic do this, it's a very complex exercise. And there is tremendous amount of research that goes into how to manage diabetes. Tremendous amount of research. And this is a part of that research. Okay, so concept selection, I think we've talked about it. So eventually what's going to happen is, now based on the concept, you're going to go to the people, to the customers. And how do you go to the people? See, you're going to do the early stage of screening was qualitative testing. Now you're talking about quantitative testing. So you're going to reach back to the customers. All right? See how it goes. Testing. Right? So you have lots of decisions to make. Which of these concepts is a good concept? right? Which one should I make? What markets am I going to be in? And so on. What is the competition doing? Benchmarking, always there. All right, so lots of them. So you see, for an electrical scooter, by the way, this is a very popular device in Singapore right now. I'm not sure how popular it is in India, but we need a certain infrastructure of kind of like the roads have to be somewhat even. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay? But this is very, very popular in Singapore. So electrical scooter, the power, right? There's a battery somewhere. You see, who's going to use it? Folks, is this a scooter for me? No. This is, most products are done for the younger generation. So it's for you. Okay? It's not for me. I'm so darn scared of riding this. All right? If I fall, if I break a certain bone, it will take forever to heal. So it's meant for who? To figure it out. It's a scooter. Cannot go very far. So you're going to take it from Silchar to Guwahati, for example. So you're going to say college. But I can run around on the campus, right? You're going to say, I can run around on the campus. Distance is important. Most of the time, you're not going for long distance drive. It's only within, running a few things here and there. So you got to know what the use is. You got to know who the person is. You got to know what the markets are. All right? So lots and lots of this. Now you want to tell the customer that concept. When you tell the customer your concept, it's not like you have built a product. You may have built nothing. But you see, you have lots and lots of different things. You can do computer graphics. You can do simulation. You can do interactive multimedia. You can tell a certain story. Lots of different ways. Never build a product fully. That's resource and time and expertise, intense exercise. All right? So you have to have a reasonable sense of what you want to build and why you want to build it, all right, before you actually go about building. That's the message. All right? So you have the verbal description, you have the sketch, you have the photo rendering, and you have the people using it, right? So now this is very, very graphics oriented. Again, why graphics oriented? Because we are influenced by what we see, right? Eyes. That's why graphics. All right? The CAD model and the appearance model, all different kinds of modeling can be done, right? You haven't built any darn thing, but you're trying to test with the customers. The working prototype and the beta prototype. Everybody knows what beta is. What is beta? What is beta must come after alpha, right? What is alpha? Alpha is a concept product. Okay, so when you visualize these concepts, they are alpha. Beta is the product that you roll out in the market to test the market. You still haven't perfected it. Right? When Gmail was started first time, it was actually a beta product. They're still trying to work out a few things. But in the market, you feel is good enough for the product to test the market, all right, and for you to get a sense of what the market wants. Okay, folks, a lot of times these kind of things, survey questions, all kinds of things are done. All right, the purchase intent, so you're looking for a certain price point. You're looking for the kinds of people who would buy this product and so on. All kinds of things you would need to do. Okay, so this was the production product. Right? It's time for lunch. Thank you. You guys are waiting, right? When is it going to end? All right. We have a little. By the way, we will still try to come back in good time, right? Good time is what, 2:30? 2:30. I think the lecture that somebody said here, I have an idea what to do and so on. We will at least begin to have that conversation